Let's make an abstract taped line painting. For supplies, you will need a large piece of watercolor, mixed media, or heavy drawing paper, drafting or painter's tape, acrylic or tempera paint in the colors of your choice, a small bowl of water, a large or medium-sized paintbrush, a palette or wax piece of paper, a sponge or any other item to add texture to your painting, and a paper towel. The step you see here is optional. You could just leave the paper white and begin taping it, or you can give it a quick base coat of color. But if you skip this step, all of these outlines would be white instead of the base coat color. If you do choose to add the base coat, know that you don't have to fill it in totally solid. Notice that I'm just adding a thin coat of paint, and I'm still allowing some of the white to show through. As you're working, be sure to rinse your brush thoroughly after each color. If you added a base coat, be sure to let it dry before you move on to the next step, which is to tape down all 4 edges. Then you can begin taping the lines for your design. Now it's time for color. Paint your shapes however you'd like. There's no right or wrong answers. And feel free to paint all over the tape. It'll be just fine. Try mixing some of your colors together and see what you come up with. Also, try some different ways of applying paint and creating textures and layers in your artwork. You can see here I'm using a sponge to create that spongy texture to my painting, but you could use a toothbrush and try flicking the paint onto your paper. You could use the side of a popsicle stick to scrape off some paint. See what you can use as a tool for painting, and see what happens. Don't worry too much about how your painting looks in this stage. Right now you're just building up layers to create depth and texture in your painting. The halfway point for most artwork is often what I think of as an ugly stage. Just keep working through it and it'll get better. Now this is just an option, but you may want to add more lines to your design while you're working on it. You just need to let the paint dry before adding more tape. It's okay to go over areas several times. In fact, it's often best to do this because it creates more depth in your painting. And if there are areas you don't like, just paint over it. At some point, you may want to consider adding an accent color, a color that will stand out and create emphasis in your painting. The yellow-green shapes create emphasis, but I've also added the pink areas to create more emphasis in the painting. Whether or not you do this in your artwork is totally up to you. When you're done painting, carefully remove the tape. Pull it off slowly, one piece at a time, so that it doesn't tear the paper. As you're removing the tape, I hope that you see your paintings coming out of that ugly stage we talked about. Good job seeing it through to the end. Thanks for painting with me today. I hope you came up with some clever ways to add textures and layers to your artwork. For more art videos that will knock your creative socks off, hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and keep making art.